Yo, what's going on, y'all? Earlier this month, I dropped a video about a Parappa 2 tournament that I hosted at MagFest 2026. If you haven't seen that video already, here's a link to check it out. That experience was a lot of fun, and I hope it inspired more fans to check out some in-person events whenever they can. To reiterate some of what was in the last video, MagFest is a gaming and music-focused convention that happens every January in the Washington, D.C. area. Earlier that same day, I hosted another tournament for a game in another often overlooked franchise. So let's get into it. The Rhythm Heaven series is a rhythm-focused series of games developed and published by Nintendo, more specifically Nintendo's Software Planning and Development Division. This is the same team that developed most of the WarioWare games and the Tomodachi Life series. Each game consists of a unique set of rhythm minigames that place you in wacky scenarios as you're tasked with pressing buttons in time with amazing music and set pieces. Each minigame centers around audio cues that guide the player as opposed to the usual visual cues that you would see in games like DDR or Guitar Hero. Rhythm Heaven games are all built upon the principles of rhythmic intuition and internalizing each beat instead of following everything you see on the screen precisely. The series started out on the Game Boy Advance in 2006 and continued up through the 3DS, where it laid dormant up until last year, where they announced Rhythm Heaven Groove, which is coming to the Nintendo Switch this year. But before getting into more, if you've been enjoying my videos so far, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and leave a comment. Each view, comment, or subscription really helps out the channel a lot, so thank you, and yeah, let's get on with the rest. Alright, so most fans of the Rhythm Heaven franchise are probably used to playing through each game on their own, but Rhythm Heaven Fever on the Wii stands out as the one game in the series that placed a huge emphasis on multiplayer, way more so than the others. This makes sense because Rhythm Heaven Fever was the only one released on a home console instead of a handheld. The Game Boy Advance entry in the series actually had a remake that was released only in arcades that did have a two-player mode. But this version and all of its assets were never released in the home market. Now, back to Rhythm Heaven Fever on the Wii. The game had a whole section of two-player minigames, which were just co-op versions of some of the main minigames. For now, we'll be leaving those alone, instead turning our attention to the Rhythm Toys section. Medals are given out to players as they complete each minigame with a superb rating or better in the single player. These medals unlock side games known as Endless Games and Rhythm Toys. Rhythm Toys are even smaller side attractions that are rewarded to the player that have no real goal or objectives. They're pretty simple attractions that can generate some sort of short jingle or rhythm that you can tap along to. Endless Games are a similar deal, but they include high scores and levels that you can play towards. This section of Rhythm Heaven can usually provide 5 to 10 minutes of fun between the main games, but Rhythm Heaven Fever had a hidden gem placed among these. Say hello to Rhythm Fighter. Despite being placed in the normal single-player Rhythm Toy section, this minigame requires a second controller to be connected to your console. Once you're in, you'll be greeted by what is essentially Nintendo's own rhythm fighting game. The rules are simple. Each round, both players are given a set of beats that they can use to create a rhythm of kicks and punches. After being shown the base rhythm, a player is chosen as the attacker, and they're tasked with pressing the A button or the A and B button to launch punches or kicks on the beat. The defending player must repeat this rhythm to dodge each attack. If their timing is off, the character will be unable to move, meaning the other player's attack lands, and a hit point is taken from the defender. Each player will swap roles quickly, so they both need to be in tune and focused to make sure they don't miss their turn. Now, the control scheme's pretty simple, but the complexity comes in the form of the rhythms given to each player as the match progresses. Round 1 starts off with 4 quarter notes, which is a great way to set your rhythmic foundation and work out any latency issues you might be feeling from your setup. Quarter notes stick around for round 2 as well, but once players reach round 3, that's where the game really kicks it up a notch. The eighth note rounds. Since eighth notes are half the length of quarter notes, where you would see 4 quarter notes, you now will have 8 notes to play out. With this comes more flexibility, and you'll be able to give your opponents more complex beats to tap out for successful dodges. And from this round on, the game becomes a lot more expressive. Did you figure out that your opponent has trouble with upbeats? Go ahead and hit them with 4 upbeats in a row. Are they bad at quick button presses in succession? Release a flurry of eighth notes back to back and see if they can keep up. Next up, round 4 brings in 16 eighth notes. Since each character only has 13 hit points for the whole game, our tournament battles didn't really make it past round 4. Once that round hit, things turned violent, and a winner was usually decided after a couple volleys back and forth. It was pretty hype for everyone watching. Since the hall these tournaments took place in was big, full of people, and pretty loud, I connected the audio output of the game directly to a big speaker for both players to feel and sync their button inputs to. Outside of that, there weren't any special rules that I used for choosing the player's side or anything else. Our format was single elimination, 1 match, whoever wins moves on. As players approached the play area, each could grab the controller of their choice and sit on their corresponding side. Roughly 24 players entered, which was way more than I expected, so going with the rules I mentioned before helped keep things moving quickly. The tournament ran for roughly 90 minutes and it was non-stop action. Much like the Parappa tournament, everyone was super engaged and was cheering on their fellow competitors in sync with the rhythm. The vibe was super exciting and we really made some noise, to the point where other staff members took notice. Our tournament took place around noon, so our energy definitely helped liven up the gameplay hall and set off the day right. In the end, our top 4 players were Justin, DT4, Azure, and our winner, Brawl Cats. Everyone there was super excited to play Rhythm Heaven, and each brought their A game to the event. I also wanted to give a huge shout out to one of our contestants, Cake. She was one of our earlier contestants and put up a good fight, but ultimately lost a round to DT4 early on. However, as a huge fan of the series, she stuck around for the rest of the tournament and cheered everyone on with some good energy. I didn't notice at the time, but Cake had actually been drawing while watching and surprised all of us with a sick drawing they drew right then and there for the tournament. Once it was over, she showed all of us and we were all super shocked. I ended up commissioning her to turn it into a finished product to use as this video's thumbnail. Please go ahead and give Cake a follow on social media if you have a chance. She's an amazing comic illustrator and it's been an honor to feature her work in this video. For a franchise as dormant as this one, it's clear that it made a profound impact on a lot of gaming fans and music lovers. If you've ever even been remotely into rhythm games, definitely give these games a shot. They're a fun way to connect with friends or loved ones through simple music minigames. They can also be great gateways into the world of rhythm and music for any young person. I know they were for me. A huge thanks goes out to each and every one of you that made it out to this tournament, and everyone I met at MagFest. For anyone interested in hosting locals for niche games like this one, I hope this video gives you the inspiration to do so. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions about the setup I used, or if you'd like to get involved at MagFest next year. I can try my best to share any resources I have and point you in the right direction. With Rhythm Heaven Groove coming out sometime this year, I'm hoping that Nintendo includes Rhythm Fighter or other games like it so that we can all come back next year with our Nintendo Switches and compete all over again. But until then, thank you for watching. If you liked this video, leave a like, If you want to subscribe, go ahead and do that, and I'll see you again some other time. Peace.